Hey everyone, my name is Ace.
And I'm Heather.
And this is the Twin Flame Journey.
And in today's episode, part 2 of 3 of redefining codependency, it is called Teamwork Makes the Dream Work, Co-creating versus Codependency.
But before we get started today, if you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and share this video to anyone you think could benefit, we'd be so grateful. Heather, why don't you redefine what is codependency again?
Okay, so to me, codependency is needing someone to fill your cup that you aren't filling yourself. Thinking you need them to go to the store, need them to do that for you, to fill that void.
I tend to look at things from an emotional standpoint. She tends to look at things from a human physical standpoint and the material, actions and things like that. So for me, codependency is relying on someone else to give you what you need when you can't give it to yourself, and then projecting that outward because it's not being given to you in the ways that you need, because in reality, you're the only one that can give it. Now that was all over the place. And that's what codependency is. It's all over the place. But what is co-creating to you?
Co-creating is a healthy balance between depending on the other and depending on yourself.
What I really liked, this quote I had said in the last video was, I am an individual who is self-reliant and fully capable on my own, yet through choice, depend on the love of another to share my life with. Co-creating is having a shared vision, goals, outlook, and building a life together, because teamwork does make the dream work. And this is teamwork in everything. Household chores. There are no gender chores. I'm sorry. Men can do laundry. Men can sweep floors. Men can do dishes and cook dinner. I do all of that stuff. Women can cut grass. They can weed eat. They can paint. They can do maintenance. You know, these old school, old earth ideas of what and who we are no longer fitting the narratives and storylines of New Earth. And therefore, we need to step up as whole versions of ourselves, correct? And through that stepping up and through that communication and sharing interdependently with someone else is how you co-create and manifest brilliance in your life. That term power couples. Why are some couples powerful and why are some couples just kind of blah? It's all in communication. It's all in shared vision. It's all in shared effort. You can't have one without the other. One person can't make all the effort while the other person sits on their butt all day. Yeah, you can maybe be considered a power couple that way, but only one person's really powerful and the other person's kind of hanging on the coattails. So the key is to find balance, is to strike a balance between what it is she's doing and what it is she offers and what it is I'm doing and what I offer. So teamwork makes the dream work. And in teamwork, we need communication. But we oftentimes set expectations without communicating, and that causes problems in our relationships. What does that mean to you?
Instance would be, I expect you to do the trash, and not even to communicate with you about that. Say, hey, could you please take the trash out tonight? Stuff like that.
That makes sense, actually, because sometimes I'll take the trash out and I'll come back, and there's no trash bag in the trash can. I just took the trash out, I tied it up, took it out the house, went outside, came back in. Trash bin is still in the middle of the floor and there's no trash bag in there. But I didn't ask her, hey, can you put a trash bag in there? I expected her to just know what to do and then get butthurt when she doesn't, creating an issue. So maybe that my ego gets triggered, and then maybe we start arguing, or maybe we start pushing away from each other.
Building that resentment.
That resentment wall,
yeah,
right? The
yeah.
resentment wall.
Mm-hmm.
Littlest thing as that. If you want to co-create brilliance in your life, especially with your twin flame, you have to communicate. You have to ask them for what you need. You need to know, first of all, what you need. If you don't know what you need, you got more growing to do. You got more healing to do, and you might need to take a step back and go spend some time with yourself. The first step in co-creating brilliance with your twin is knowing what you need from them, communicating what you need from them in a methodical, tactful, kind way, and also setting boundaries, and also letting them know when they're doing something that annoys you or doing something that's not conducive to your relationship. So give us another example of co-creating requiring communication.
So from an emotional standpoint, I could expect you to cuddle me every night and then not tell you, hey, I would like to cuddle tonight, and have that expectation. And then when you don't do it, then me get butthurt because I did not communicate.
That's facts. And it's also allowing the other person to be who they are. she requires a lot more affection than I do. And so for me, that's been a issue in our relationship at times, is me not giving her enough affection and then her not communicating that's what she needs from me. So what I've done is I started to, with Grace, give her that affection, but also then communicate to her, hey, I need some space right now. Hey, I could use, a little distance. Hey, can you, maybe hold my hand and not hold all of me, just because I am an energy being. We're all energy beings, but I really feel energy. You can ask her. It's pretty aggressive sometimes. I get restless leg syndrome at night. I get all these things that are going through. Like, this body is a total litmus test, I feel, for the collective consciousness. And so there's just some times where I don't have the bandwidth to give her more of me. And if I don't communicate that tactfully, I could hurt her feelings. And I did this the other week. She had asked for a hug, and for whatever reason in that moment, I just got annoyed with it, and I just said, "You're being needy," and it, like, you could just, her heart closed, and she got quiet, and the rest of the night was a thing. And it was on my end that I didn't communicate with tact, with ease, with love, that, hey, I could use a little space right now, please respect that. I didn't trust her, I didn't trust myself, I didn't trust that I would be received with love, and therefore I projected. And so I'm sorry for that.
It's okay.
Which we already worked
Yeah,
through.
already cool.
So something else I have written here is codepending leads to projection. Why does codependency lead to projection?
Because it's the expectations again. And so when they don't meet your expectations that you did not communicate, you are projecting your anger onto them, because really you're angry at yourself for not communicating to them.
And when we set expectations of others, it's really, we're setting expectations of ourselves. When we get upset about others not meeting our expectations, it's because we're not meeting our own expectations. As I started to serve myself more thoroughly, as I've started to put myself first, I call this selfishly selfless, which I believe is in the next video will be about selfishly selfless. The more I fill my cup till it's overflowing, the more ease and grace I bring to my life, the more ease and grace I bring to our relationship, the more I have to give to her in ways that I may have not thought I could give in the past. And at the end of the day, when I'm filling my own cup, I don't need her. I desire her. I want her. And the energy is so different. It's magnetizing. But as soon as that neediness starts to come out, the codependency, it's like it starts to drift. We start to drift away. We start to drift apart. And so codepending leads to projection, because we're not fulfilling the expectations that we have for ourselves. We project it onto the other, and the other is never going to be able to fulfill that in the ways that we need. We need to do that for ourselves. And so by letting go of projection and handling the stuff you need for yourself first for you, that is how we can start to shift that codependency into co-creativeness.
And I want to say, too, something I've noticed once I started filling my own cup, when I actually had so much love to give because it was overflowing from giving it to myself, giving it to others was also very fulfilling, more so, because I wasn't depleted.
And I feel that we sometimes project because we have yet to even stop, breathe, and spend time with ourselves to find out what it is we need, what it is we want. Self-care and self-love cannot go by the wayside just because you're in a divine union. It needs to be paramount. Self-care and self-love is the only way that relationship, especially how intense it is and visceral and real, the only way that it will last is if we're continuing to care for ourselves and love ourselves, so that then we can do it with ease and grace for the other.
Again, the mirror effect.
The mirror effect, exactly. These concepts are going to keep coming back up in these videos because they're foundational to the twin flame journey and relationships in general.
I want to talk about how deep this mirror effect really is, because the other day he was feeling not good about himself. And then I was just getting these thoughts like, I don't want to be with him, when I know that wasn't me at all. And then because we communicated, he told me how he was feeling. I got to put the pieces together saying, well, because you were feeling this way, you literally repelled me away.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's absolutely incredible to see. And that's why being aware, staying present, communicating is so important, because then this relationship opens up and you get to see it. Not just be in it, not just feel it, but take a step back and observe it from a 100,000 foot view. how amazing and incredible of an experience this truly is, and what a living testament to the true Earth game and what its point of spiritual vibratory increase is. Like, the whole point of us being together in form as separate people is so that we can grow our soul. Yep. And we can refine it, and we can then get to even higher states of consciousness. Something else I had written down was rat race grind, right? The rat race grind versus manifesting flow. There are two ways we can go about this life, and there's two ways we can go about building, co-creating a life together with our flame. We can go straight through, head first, do the resistance, keep pushing, keep grinding, keep just pounding it. No matter how hard it gets, just make it through and go the old Earth way. Or you can surrender into your divine relationship, surrender into the energy behind it, and then allow yourself to get into a flow state, which brings your manifestations in with ease and grace, very little resistance, and very little pushback or forcing. You've been in the rat race before. I've been in the rat race before too, but you really been in the rat race. I mean, you had the kid, you had the marriage, you had the literal 3D human life, the rat race. Bills, gymnastics practices, lost jobs, you want to talk about, if there's anyone that has a great dichotomy between 3D old Earth and 5D new Earth, it's her. She's living both of them, and it's beautiful to see, and I've gained so much perspective from just her experience. So explain a little bit about what the rat race grind was for you and how you were able to turn it into a manifestation flow.
The rat race was miserable. I never will go back to that lifestyle. I can't.
I'm allergic to it.
Not after living in flow and being in the heart and doing what I'm guided to do. It's just night and day. Mm-hmm. But taking that leap from that programming, it's scary because you literally could lose everything.
It's true. And you sometimes do.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much did, but I'm very grateful for choosing, because I actually felt more trapped having the stability than I do now in living in flow.
Yeah, it's flow for sure. It's a complete surrender. And that's the difference too between rat race grind and manifestation flow, is the doing versus the surrendering, the doing versus the being. You're in flow, you do the rat race. It's all in what you want from your life. It's all in what you want to spend your time on. It's all in how you want to go about it. Some people love it. There's some people that love the grind. Some people that just love it. They're all day. They live for it. And I did for a long time until I physically couldn't handle it anymore. My body cannot handle the grind. And I spent the last 4 years regrowing my entire self to be able to handle a life of flow, a life of manifestation, because I did not have the patience before. I didn't know surrender. I didn't know acceptance and allowance. I didn't know leaps of faith. It was just go, 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 and we'll figure it out, right? And it ain't that case anymore. The next thing I want to talk about is how you can't live with them, but you also can't live without them. When you're in a codependent relationship, it's this energetic vortex where it's like, I need them for survival, but I'm so miserable. I don't want to survive anymore. And it creates this negative feedback loop where you have to walk on eggshells around their ego because you're so afraid of saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing that it will end that relationship. And then without that relationship, you're nothing and you can't survive and you can't be. What was that piece of advice your mom gave you back in the day?
To never rely on a man, that I need to rely on myself.
And why was that?
Well, from her perspective is when you rely on a man, you can get trapped very easily because you're relying on them financially, emotionally, stuff like that. But from a spiritual lens, it makes your human feel better actually when you do rely on yourself and no one else. You're just happier.
You really are. You feel fulfilled. You feel capable. That was my big thing the last several years as my body broke down and as I've had to let go of some of these other paths I was on and opportunities, relationships went by the wayside. I just felt so incapable. I felt unworthy. I felt unable to do anything. And I started to literally adopt these storylines and narratives in my head that I'm less than. And it took the love of her and her consistent badgering me that you're awesome, you're amazing, you're great, for me to finally surrender all and release all of the negative programs that I was running for myself and accept the truth of who I am and what I am. And since then, now we're manifesting in flow, and the abundance and prosperity is coming in steadily, and it's beautiful. Which also means, that's a perfect segue, because co-creating needs balanced energies to synergize. I need to be balanced in my masculine and feminine energies. Then I also need to be balanced in my divine masculine and divine feminine energies. Same with her. When we create that synergy between all those energies, that's when that power couple term comes in again. It's when you manifest instantly. All the opportunities come your way. Doors open. Green lights all along the street. And there's been times where we're in that flow, and then we start to question it, or we start to get into a lack mindset, or we get triggered, or we get in an argument because we're not taking care of ourselves. It's a very fine line between living in flow and doing what it is you need to do, and forgetting to be, and forgetting to stop, and forgetting to actually be with yourself and spend that time. So a great piece of advice, if you're in a divine relationship and you are in flow, but all of a sudden find yourself out of it, is self-care. Are you taking the time to rest? Are you taking the time to hygiene properly? And that could be and for me, Epsom salt baths are everything. I didn't take an Epsom salt bath this last week, and it has been a week for me, because my body requires that. It's my me time, it's self-care, it's helping my body heal, and I didn't give it to myself this time, and I kept grinding. And so everything started to kind of fall apart for me a little bit this week.
Yeah.
And then thankfully she was here to support me and help me bring it back up. So what does it mean to you that co-creation needs balanced energies to synergize?
Well, again, relying on yourself. In a partnership, there's going to be times where you aren't able to do a task that I need to do. Say painting is a good example. That would be more of a divine masculine energy. But
and cooking would be a divine feminine energy, right?
Yeah, and then there's times I'm going to say I'm sick. I can't cook for the family. You're going to need to step up and do those things. And that's co-creating together.
Yeah, like
balanced.
yesterday, it was our 1-year anniversary, and we went and had a picnic, and we came home, and we're building a room in the house we're at, and so we decided to paint it together. And then her daughter was hungry, so I decided to go cook, because she was having a great time painting. So I went and cooked, and then her daughter needed help with her homework. So we painted a little more, and then I came in here and I helped her daughter with some homework. And then I went back in there and started painting again. There was all flow. There was no arguing. That's not my job. It was literally an independent interdependency is what it was. It's individual interdependence. It was wonderful. In the final part of this video, we would like to talk about is thoughts, words, and actions. When we're co-creating, we are responsible for the thoughts, the words, and the actions of ourself. We can coach our twin flame. We can highlight maybe that they're talking wrong, or they're talking negatively, or they're not talking in a way that's manifesting brilliance. We can hit on all these things, but at the end of the day, it's on her and me to handle that stuff ourselves. But you're in a relationship, and you're co-creating brilliance together, which means that we have an accountability to each other to shore up our thoughts, to refine our words, and to make sure our actions reflect what those thoughts and those words are. Me and my father believe that when you are in complete alignment with yourself, your mission in life, and source, that your thoughts, your words, and actions will all align. And there will not be a change in what you think and what you say and how you act and what you be and all those things. It will all just be one, because you are one, because you are whole. And so we are responsible for these thoughts, words, and actions ourselves, but we're also accountable to the other for those thoughts, words, and actions. Me saying something mean to her, reducing her vibration, getting her to start creating storylines in her head about our relationship or about the situation, is then taking energy away from trying to manifest brilliance. And what I mean by manifesting brilliance is receiving the things that we desire the most without having to fret or worry about them in any way. We set the intention, we do the apt work where it's needed, and then we surrender and let it go, let it flow, and see what comes. Codependency leads to emotional projection and relational contractions. When we're not focused on what we're saying, thinking, and doing, and we allow it to just be what it is, we are taking a risk of sloppy manifesting. We're taking a risk of creating a reality that isn't real. And when we create a reality that doesn't fit the construct that we have in our heads, we freak out and we project onto those closest to us, because it's easy to project on the ones we love, because we know that they'll be there to take it. This will create a relational contraction, which is, again, repelling. I didn't feel very good about myself this week, which then created thoughts, right? I was chasing those storylines and narratives. I created an energy vortex that literally repelled her from me, put up a love wall, and we were no longer co-creating brilliance together. We were now working on our stuff together. But because we're able to communicate, and I feel so safe telling her exactly what's going on inside of me, it was done in, a couple minutes.
Yeah.
It just took a little bit of time to figure out, hey, I don't feel good. Hey, this is why I don't feel good. Communicate that to you. You go, oh, I was feeling this way. Now I know it's not me. Energy cut. And now there's storylines and narratives being created. No more relational contraction, and everything's kosher. And finally, co-creatives master reality by mastering language, shoring up thoughts, and refining actions towards their desires. It's so easy for us to look at our lives and believe that it's impossible to get where we're trying to go. It's so easy to look at all the lack what we have. It's so easy to make excuses and justifications for why we aren't happy. But the moment we take responsibility for our thoughts, words, and actions, the moment we become accountable to the people we love for those thoughts, words, and actions, is the moment we become co-creating masters, and that's when anything is possible. So remember, don't quit while the magic is happening, right? Don't quit while the magic is happening, because it is. You're already in this relationship. You're already in a deeper love than you've ever experienced. You've already have abundance and prosperity you never thought would come. It's just taking time. So take a breath, take a step back, and spend some quality time with your flame. Spend some quality time with your life. Take a nap and revisit everything, because I promise you it isn't as bad as you think it is. That wraps up video number 2 of Redefining Codependency. This episode was on
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work. If you can give advice to a twin flame couple who is having a difficult time with these concepts, what would it be?
Take care of yourself. Love yourself first.
And how would you do that?
By talking with yourself, being with yourself, healing yourself.
And that can be done with your flame. That could be done communicating with your
Yeah.
flame, but you are doing the active work, right? That was beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so with that, if you liked what you've seen and heard today, please hit that like button. If you would be so kind to share this video with anyone that you think could benefit from it, we'd be so grateful. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Check us out at our website at essentialenergetics.com. Email us at heal@essentialenergetics.com. Check us out on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, t.me/armyofenergychat. And with that, we hope you have a wonderful day, an even better evening. We'll talk to you again sometime soon. Take care, and goodbye.
Goodbye.